on, everyone? This is the final round, front nine of the 2019 Opelika Open. I'd like to thank the sponsors of the video, which would be the Auburn Opelika Tourism, the Opelika Parks and Rec, Hat Tip Disc Golf, FlighTowel, and of course, Prodigy Disc. We've got Roger Reyes, Dylan Braseel, Colin Forehand, and myself, Will Schusterick. I am joined with Idris Garcia.
Yo!
All right, we are in Opelika, Alabama, as the name says, and we're on hole 1, 288 feet. For those that watched the first round action, the course stays the exact same. There's no basket changes. There's a couple different players, as you can see there. Dylan Braseel, who is from Idris's hometown of Chattanooga.
Yeah, man, Dylan's a great player from here in Chattanooga. I actually believe he lives in Athens now, but we certainly miss seeing him around here. He comes around every once in a while. Looks like you're the third of three going with the sidearm play.
Yeah, hole 1 plays a little bit left to right. The wind picked up just a little bit during this second round. As we watched Dylan go with the first two players, actually went with the forehand, and I went with the forehand. Colin goes with the 400 M4 turnover. Executed that very well.
His last name is Forehand, so I think it counts.
Colin, our friends like to call him Colin Backhand.
There you go.
Not really having a good look at birdie here. I'm just kind of laying it up next to the tree and the basket right there.
It's good to avoid trouble, early on.
This is a really great look by Roger. Roger is known to be just a fantastic putter from the St. Louis area. I think he usually plays Grandmasters, but it just goes to show his skill and touch as Colin drains in that birdie putt. I think taking the only birdie on the card.
Good comebacker there from Dylan.
Yeah, you'll notice Dylan is definitely a very good putter. I would say that's his strength overall, is pretty solid putting.
Yeah, he's a great putter. I've heard a lot from his friend Snappy, who also lives here in Chattanooga, that he's very in tune with backhand form as well. Just likes to kind of observe and tweak things, and just a good all-around player.
I think he was an ultimate player.
Yep, that he was for sure.
So we see Colin here pushes a little bit to the left. This one's playing over the water just a little bit, but the water doesn't come into play really for these for the pros on this card. As you can see, Roger is going to challenge the trees on the right-hand side as he just kind of gets a little bit unlucky and catches the base of a tree. Dylan
right into the rocks.
Right into the rocks, but that's actually not a bad spot to be.
Yeah, I think that's a good gauge for just having a putt.
That's not exactly what I was looking for right there, but just a little bit of an early release and not any flip on that PA4. Just going for the old jump putt layup.
Yeah, it looks like it hasn't warmed up too much from the first round. Everybody's still kind of bundled up. The wind doesn't look to be as present at the moment, though.
Colin just missing a little bit on the left-hand side. Looks to be about 30 feet. I think Roger was looking 25, kind of circle's edge here. Just towards the top of the basket on that one. Dylan with the best drive of the bunch just pops that one right in there. Colin, just a little bit of a comeback putt. These are always good confidence builders, even though they're 12 to 15 feet.
Looks like someone's throwing in on you there.
Yeah, the 2 holes after this one actually comes right down behind me. And so that's kind of the landing zone, and unfortunately the basket is right there too as well, so it gets a little tight right there. Once again, nothing really too fancy as Dylan picks up the lone birdie.
And a stroke on the card, moving within 2 of Roger.
We're headed on to hole number 3, which I think is the longest hole on the whole course.
That's just a laser beam.
As you can see, averages, and Dylan gets the unfortunate skip out of bounds. It looks like he could have Could have grabbed a little bit of an upslope with the long grass, but, took an unfortunate skip right there. I think we're dealing with a right to left wind. So once that disc does start to hyzer out, it is going to push even more.
Yeah, it looks like Dylan's didn't quite get over like Colin's did and got pushed out of bounds.
Yeah, and that's a good spot to be right there. As I was saying, the wind, if I remember correctly, is going from right to left. And this was a really unfortunate roll for Roger. He's right up against the tee pad. Definitely not the best spot you want to be. And once again, for those people that watched the first round, this is nearly identical to my first round and just going right next to the base of the tree. Just not really the best spot that you want to be. And really in this position, you just don't want to go out of bounds, which is over the cart path to the left. You just want to play it nice and safe, pretty wide, and just get your 4.
Yeah, it's good play from Roger. I think it's tough when you have bad footing to kind of short arm it or not really get your full power into it and saw it off out of bounds. So it's a good job by him staying clean.
On this shot, I went standstill because of the tree, which was to the back right of me. And I went with my signature 400 D2.
That's a great result, too.
Colin looks to be going with a really overstable disc as he just really turns that one over. I think that was one of his overstable D2s, maybe even D1 on that shot. As Dylan is taking his meter in from out of bounds and going with a big spike hyzer shot, trying to get up and down to save par.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great shot right there by Dylan. And you start to hear the wind just a little bit. I think it did warm up a tad, but the wind increased, so it's kind of a give and take situation on that. As you can see, this Opelika Sports Complex does have a lot of different amenities, as one of them being the soccer fields in the back. And they're also installing a world-class pickleball court.
Yeah, I think we'll see that on the back half. Oh, no.
You can see Dylan just with the low release right out of his hand. It's funny to watch yourself play because sometimes you forget how much time you take on certain shots. Like that right there.
It was worth the wait.
That was worth it.
It was worth the wait.
That was worth the wait.
All right, you're right. Here's
Roger hoping to make up for the previous 2 bad putts right there as Roger picks up a little bit of confidence with that nice 15, 16-foot comeback putt.
Yep, everybody else looks to be just cleaning up.
Just tapping in 4 for Colin, 4 for myself, and Dylan with the 5 as he gives up the birdie from the previous hole. As we're headed on to hole number 4, 650 feet downhill, averages 4.2, as you can see right there, one of the harder holes on this course is Colin just misses the bottom slope of that hill just by a few feet and just goes right over the top.
Yeah, it's tough. Looked like another early release in a few of those so far, just out of a couple different people.
So for those that have played this course before, you will notice that road is a brand new addition. There used to be a lot of trouble over there on the left, and you used to never be able to hyzer out to the left. You actually have to turn it over in years past. But so if you go back and you watch last year's footage, or if you've ever played the course before, then you'll realize that all of the trees on the left-hand side have completely changed.
Dylan was flirting with that Mando over there.
Dylan was very close to the Mando and the water on this. He ripped it all the way down there with a fairway driver, I'm pretty sure, which was still a great drive. I think he did end up being safe.
There's Roger. It didn't look like a great spot off the tee, but it looks like not a bad angle if you're on the flat part down there, because you're just kind of looking.
Yeah, you're kind of looking
at the basket.
Yeah, you're looking up towards the basket. As we're watching Colin here, I think he is going with his A2. I think 300 A2 is my guess on that disc. I know that he throws a disc very similar of that color.
Looks like he'll have a putt at it.
This is definitely the ideal spot for me to be, as I'm throwing a 300 PA3 right there, just with the fan grip, trying to dig it into the hill where the basket is. As we watch Dylan, and his shot just drops right perfectly underneath the basket, and his tee shot was safe in bounds on that. So really playing with the water on the tee shot and playing with the water on his upshot right there.
Yeah, it looked like the wind didn't help, but Colin avoids the roll there.
Yeah, you can see the wind is really coming in. This is one of the few holes the wind picks up a lot, just because you got the water, you got the road, and then you got the basket, which is only 10 feet away from out of bounds, and it's quick to go in the water.
Yeah, this is definitely a cool hole. I think I'd call it a signature hole.
As Roger right there just misses a little bit, and he actually does go out of bounds on that putt.
Man. There you go.
Looking to take my time on that. Any type of miss from that distance just goes straight into the water.
Yeah, we kind of saw what happened to Roger there.
Not a bad pickup, though, even though that is a short 15-foot comebacker in the wind.
Trouble on the green for Colin so far.
Yeah, and Colin is one of those putters. He does have a nice flat to almost slight Anheuser spin putt. So right to left wind, or sometimes even a tailwind, can drop his putt to where you would think it would lift, or you're not used to the gusts of wind that's going on. Headed on to hole number 5, 275 feet from the catch cam here. You actually be able to see it, a lot better from this camera, but the tunnel is very tight, headed up towards the basket, and it's actually really easy.
Skip through everything.
You can skip through everything with a 400 GM4. This is a fairly common play, I would say, because the fairway opens up a little bit to the right. You kind of throw a little bit of a flex.
With the roll.
With the roll right there.
I like it.
Yeah, that is a great play.
Little English on it, just that backspin.
Yeah, it's all about the backspin on the base of the tree down the tunnel. Perfect. And Colin as well, just a great shot. He went with a 400 M3.
He gets a little love there at the end, too.
This hole is really favorable to all players right now.
Let's see if Roger can convert on the love as well.
Roger went with a fairway driver on this hole, which was a little surprising just because you get to see a lot of that skip, but he had a great line on it. He just got an unfortunate little skip to the left, and you'll notice a little bit off the fairway here, and you don't have too much of a look.
Yeah, put a decent bit on it. Didn't quite have the height, but good too for you.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. Oh, no. As you can see, Dylan right there, he does have a little bit of power on that putt, but that basket should have caught that. That was borderline perfect.
Yeah, looked like he may needed to ease on the gas a little bit on the putt.
Great 2 by Colin. I see a lot of people on this hole. If you watch the last round, it's very easy to mess up on this hole, because if you get off the fairway on this 282 foot hole, it's really easy to mess up and take a quick bogey. But we're headed on to hole number 6, which is one of the easier holes on the whole course. As you see, it almost averages a 2.3. Technically 2.3, which is almost 2. Rounds down. I went with a 300 PA3. I think Colin is doing close to the same. Get a little bit of
all the greenery over there.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a wind read from the trees over there on the right. Not anything super crazy, but there is a little bit of a breeze to be dealing with on these shots.
Dylan looks like he's heading right at it. Really nice shot there.
Yeah, you got to see a little bit of Dylan's touch on that, as he's definitely got the slight hyzer flip and smooth, consistent backhand form.
There's Roger. Roger hasn't quite gotten it going yet. He's the leader in the clubhouse after round 1, just looking to put his mark on round 2 and see if he can hold on.
And I think that is a great example of Roger's overall gameplay, as he's very straight, very consistent, and he's getting all the must-have birdies.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
No.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
What happened there?
Don't watch.
Oh.
It's not done. Now it's done. And headed back to about double the length of my previous putt.
So after watching that, are you laying this up or are you trying to run it?
At this point, you have to run at it.
Okay, I see.
Oh, I could say that because I
All right.
made it.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But you do have that back hill, so you can run at it, and you're not going to be dealing with the left to right. You're actually dealing with more of like a back roll. It kind of has to hit the ground and go backwards, which is a lot less likely to happen when you're putting on a left to right sloping hill and then it rolling away like my putt did the first time. As we watch Dylan Colin knocking those birdies, and then we're going to watch Roger as well. And I would say that played about to consistent 2.3.
Yeah, thanks to you,
Just trying to keep up with the averages.
Yep.
Making easy work of hole number 6.
Tight race. Roger up by 1 over Dylan, then you and Colin just 2 back.
And then shout out to FlighTowel for the great sponsorship on the video.
Hole 7, 360-foot par 3. Nice, easy hyzer into the trees. Looks like there's a skinny little lane surrounded by a wall of trees if you're early or late. So Colin hits it perfectly, and here's Dylan looking to follow suit.
Yeah, Dylan with just that slow fade. He gets an unfortunate, I don't know if it was unfortunate or what. It looked like it actually skipped and then hit the tree and then went forward. So I'm going to count that as a good kick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he made the gap and wasn't necessarily punished for it. As Roger, you see, just goes a little deep.
Yeah, Roger, if that was a little bit tighter or just filtered through a little bit, he would have had a shot at birdie. But, whenever you miss your line, the thing that you want to avoid is hitting first available. But, of course, you can't really control either of that.
Yeah, so you see you're splitting that gap perfectly as well. So it looks like a pretty good collection of drives on this hole.
As you can see, Roger's got a touchy upshot as he just gets it through the gap right there. Great shot there by Roger, just trying to lay it with a little anhyzer.
Yeah, that's definitely where you don't want to hit first available and head straight into bogey down. So good job by him making the initial gap and giving himself an easy par putt.
And Dylan coming off the spit out, probably a little bit of a confidence hit as your putt goes right through the chains. That one's not a confidence boost either. It's funny to watch yourself miss putts. Maybe funny's not the word. It's part of it. Colin gets a great birdie though. Great birdie to Colin. As you can see on this course, there's definitely a lot of holes that take a fairly routine shot, but you got to make the putt to be able to score on this Opelika course.
Yeah, it looks, with all these skinny pine trees on pretty much every hole we've seen so far, is kind of makes things difficult if you don't hit the line.
Yeah, you're not really filtering around as we saw Roger. There's not really much filtering through these trees as we're stepping up to hole number 8, a very tough par 3, 410 feet, slightly uphill. As once again going back to first round, Colin making the great adjustment, making sure he's sticking up high. And great turnover right here by Dylan as he's making sure to lay it flat on top. A little bit too much of an angle on this, and that side of the hill is going to make it roll pretty far down, and then the road is out of bounds as well.
Yeah, Roger looks like he almost did what Colin did the first round and just got his angle over too much onto that hill.
Yeah, and Roger, I think this is a great example of playing to your strengths because Roger is very good at the upshot game, great at putting. He's not looking to get a 2 on this hole. I think he's just looking to be safe, give himself a chance to fillet the upshot like he does right here. And it's just a
really nice,
great shot overall. It was a fairway driver, and that's a lot of really good touch.
And this is kind of what I was talking about. I mean,
speaking of touch, look at that touch right there by Colin.
Yeah, hits the line through all the little skinny pine trees. Dylan doing the same thing. It's just...
These guys are just so touchy.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, it's cool to just... I really like watching good putter play. Oh, good bid there.
Yeah, I just had a little bit of the tree, just a little bit in the way as I was looking to throw a nice jump putt, trying to get one of the few birdies on this hole and tap it in the par. Not really too much excitement on this basket, as we all have about 10 to 15 feet to clean up our pars on this par.
Looks like everyone will do so. Still a tight race at the top. Colin moves within one of Roger along with Dylan, and you're still just a couple back.
And here is hole number 9. As you spoke about the little pine trees, this is the great example of that right here, because you're looking to throw it's really 2 options. What Colin did, which is a slight hyzer flip, trying to get it to go through one of the small gaps up there, or flex forehand. But when I say flex, you almost have to have a putter or a mid-range type flight to where it's landing flat and not hyzering out at the end of the flight. It just is overall a tough shot to get a birdie. I would say that's a more of a common play on this hole, as you just see a lot of people try to go up left. As we're looking at, this is the fairway of the basket. It is very tight, as we see Dylan just slide a little bit past the basket there. The pine needles don't allow for fast speeds to really stop by the basket. As you can see, even Roger slid down a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely fast tracking.
And I'm not really looking to give that a run, as there's a big drop off behind the basket. Colin with a step putt and just a little bit short. He thought he had it.
To walk it in.
There's Dylan, which is with a little bit of a finicky putt here. As you can see, he's got to go around these trees, which is really only about 5 feet from the basket. The wind's coming in. And you can see the wind just got right underneath that as soon as he put the nose up on it, and went pretty far past.
Dylan putts pretty fast anyway, so that didn't help as his putt glided all the way down that drop off, and he's not going to make the comeback.
It's a great run at the comebacker. I mean, that's a tough putt. Uphill, right to left wind, slight anhyzer. You're looking at about a 30-footer to get a bogey, essentially. Great putt right there. Unfortunate hole for Dylan. Once again, that just shows how tight overall this course is. I mean, he threw an upshot right there by the pole. Has a little bit of a tricky putt.
Yeah, tough greens for sure.
Yeah. Here's one of those touchy up shots, which is basically it is the drive, but this is one of those holes you have got to get. If you're going to do well throughout the round, this is a got to get hole, which is almost looks like an upshot on a par 4.
Yeah, and this is just a slight anhyzer on something that's straight to maybe slightly overstable, that's just going to land flat. Roger got over on it just a touch too much. As you and Colin are looking to have perfect shots, you almost ace the hole. My goodness, drawing some metal.
Yeah, that was a 400 glow PA3, as we actually missed Dylan's tee shot on that. It looked like he was about to line up, and then now we're watching Roger. Great putt right there by Roger. Just a little bit of
that putting stroke.
Yeah, just a little bit of a spin getting around that little tiny cedar tree. Here's Dylan just trying to find a little bit of a comfort zone as he smashes that putter right in the middle.
Yeah, good job by Dylan, kind of getting the last hole out of his head and just making it work.
Just got some tap-in birdies there. Those are my favorite putts.
Yeah, definitely can't complain about those. Don't need to take your time or anything, and pretty hard to miss them.
All right, the next one, we are on hole 11, 240 feet, 2.8 average. This is definitely one of the tougher holes to get a 2 on. See a lot of people get a par just because of the angle you have to get around for the basket, and then if you don't get around, you're actually going to be putting downhill, as we watch Roger really throw a nice shot right there. That's one of the best backhand drives I've seen on that hole.
Yeah, definitely a great shot. You're showing us the sidearm play.
Yeah, and I remember the wind wasn't extremely favorable for this option, but I always like to try to at least get up on top and then have a look down at the basket, even if it's from 30 feet or so.
It's definitely a safe play to give yourself a look more consistently, I would say.
And you can see right here Colin with, still one of the longer putts of the group. There's a lot of wind that's coming into play on this hole.
Yeah, it looks like he just pulled it out of his hand a little bit, which let it ride a little bit too long there on that downhill slope.
Kind of hear the wind in the background. That's one of those putts where you wonder, where did the basket go? I thought that was in the whole time.
The line was really nice. It's great putt there from Dylan.
Yeah, that's a great pickup. Great pickup, especially on this one of the tougher holes to get a birdie on.
Yeah, and 2 birdies in a row for Dylan after that 5 to kind of just erase it from the scorecard.
And a great 2 as well from Roger. Kind of quietly getting the birdie right there with the backhand putter, slight turnover, and a great putt. And a great comebacker from Colin.
And a nice easy tap in for you. So Roger and Dylan with the 2s. Roger with the 3-stroke lead as we head onto the backside.
All right, guys, that was the front 11 holes of the Frostbite Open 2019. Once again, I would like to thank the sponsors of the video: Auburn, Opelika Tourism, Opelika Parks and Rec, Hat Tip Disc Golf, FlighTowel, and of course, Prodigy Disc.
See you guys on the next one.